What's up, Guardians? Today we are diving into the exciting new game from NetEase in partnership with Bungie, Destiny Rising. And they're currently in alpha, and I got a chance to play it and get some hands-on time. And I'm going to go over my thoughts on whether the game is worth looking into at some point in the future when it eventually launches, or if it's something to avoid. But before we get started, please subscribe for more Destiny content. So I was fortunate enough to get invited to be one of the alpha testers of the game. Now, with this, the story takes place in an alternate timeline from the main series. And in this game, instead of playing as your nameless guardian as you do in the main series, you play as a group of heroes. And you start the game by playing as a hunter named Wolf. Now, they don't call him a hunter, but Destiny fans would recognize that he's a hunter. And he's a brand new lightbearer that's come alive for the first time with these new abilities. And so at the beginning of the game, they take you through the normal tutorials that you would expect on how to jump, how to shoot, how to smack, how to use your abilities. And then there's a story that kind of progresses, and you have your own ghost who has a completely different voice than the ghost we have in the main game. And it made it feel like a fresh new start for this particular guardian. And over time, you unlock more light bearers, which are predetermined characters with different abilities. The second character I won't mention by name because I don't want to spoil anything, is a basically more or less Titan. And so I was able to put up a barrier and shoot through it and use arc abilities, which was a lot of fun because Wolf uses a lot of solar abilities and is more of a hunter playstyle. So it was a lot of fun to be able to try these different characters, and there's a lot of characters in the game already, just in the alpha alone. And I was really impressed with the difference that they felt. They felt like they were individual heroes, and that this was a more or less hero shooter of sorts that you can then further customize with the weapons and gear that you unlock as you play through the game. And in this alpha alone, we had PvE, we had PvP, we had some story, we had some exploration. They really gave a really good effort to make sure that this felt like it was a good buffet of all that you would expect from a Destiny experience on mobile. And I decided to try it in multiple ways. I tried the third-person mode that they had, I tried the first-person mode they had on the phone, and then I also tried hooking up my controller to it through Bluetooth. And while it only had one controller setting that I noticed, which was the default, and I play as a bumper jumper, I used to play with the default setting, so it wasn't too much of a... It didn't throw me off too much because I was able to kind of slip back in my old habits. So it was fun to kind of play it because it felt like Destiny 1 in some ways, where you're this new light bearer and you're exploring this new world, and knowing that it takes place in an alternate timeline actually made it more exciting than I thought it would, because of the fact that they could do whatever they want. It's like when you reboot Spider-Man, you know, it's their version of it. And while I wish that they had kept it in the same timeline, maybe with the formation of the Iron Lords or something to that effect, I can understand and appreciate why that they would want to keep these in two separate lanes, because they don't want to have to worry about crossover that could happen. Now, I did end up also screen mirroring this to my television in order to enjoy it from the comfort of my bed and with the controller in my hand, and it actually felt pretty good for just something you could play casually. And I do want to say, if you're an alpha player, that you do not get any of the rewards carried over in the future. That's been confirmed. I do hope that we get some sort of emblem that says, hey, you beta tested this for us, or in this case, alpha tested, just like you did when you played the original Destiny. But time will tell. As far as the mechanics go, I felt like this felt like a light version of Destiny. It really did, and they did a good job. The gunplay felt familiar. You had two guns, not three this time, but you basically had a primary gun and a heavy gun. And then the abilities recharged fast enough where you didn't feel like you had to really wait too long for them to come back up, especially the main abilities of, you know, melee or secondary abilities. So I want to say that from a gameplay perspective, especially on controller, it felt good. I do hope in the future they allow you to change the controller settings a bit more, as well as the sensitivity to help dial it in. I know they had some, but I didn't really play around with the sensitivity too much just because I knew it's just an alpha. I just got it comfortable and just enjoyed the game and spent more time doing that. Once the official game comes out, I will probably dial it in as much as I can. The story felt fresh. The characters felt good to play as. The world felt fun to explore. And I actually can't wait to see what they do with it next. I felt like this was a very generous offering for an alpha to have this many things you could do. Now, there's no release date at this time. However, I would expect it to be quite a ways away, but I'm sure that we'll get a beta. I mean, the fact we're getting an alpha already tells you that they want to get fans' feedback early. So it might be some months before we hear any news after the beta, after the alpha is over, but I had a good time. So if you have any questions about the game, if you didn't get a chance to get your hands on it, or if you did get your hands on it, please comment down below. Like, what are your thoughts? What are your questions? What do you hope to see in the future? What did you like? What didn't you like? But that's all I have for you today. If you did enjoy this video, please like and subscribe. Thank you for watching TST Gaming, and until next time, just play.
TST Gaming.